Hello chess lovers, Soren here, and in this video I would like to share with you a mind-blowing attacking game played by German chess master Emil Josef Dimmer. His opponent is Wolfgang Ludwig, and this game was played in 1973, and this was a correspondence game. In this game, Dimmer had white pieces and he opened up with d4, and to Ludwig's d5 response he went for this hyper-aggressive gambit and played e4. This is Black-Dimmer gambit. Black accepted the gambited pawn, d takes e4, and this time we have knight c3, and after knight f6 we have f3. By sacrificing a pawn, white aims to achieve rapid development in order to build up an attack at the cost of the gambit pawn. As you have already noticed, this line carries his and Armand Blackmore's name. Black-Dimmer gambit both had a huge contribution to the theory of the opening. E takes f3, knight takes f3, bishop f5, knight e5, e6, this time we have g4. Yes, Emil Dimmer is playing very aggressively. Look at this, guys. Bishop retreats back on g6, and this time we have queen f3, c6, and g5. Knight h5, bishop e3, knight d7, and we have castling queenside. White is leading in development and has great chances of the attack because black king is still in the center of the board. D takes e5 was played. Queen c7, black is both moving away his queen and at the same time is targeting the pawn on e5. And here we have bishop g2, a strong move. Not suspecting anything, Wolfgang Ludwig captured on e5, but this is losing on the spot. It was better to proceed with the development and play bishop e7. But in our game we have queen takes e5, and in here Emil Dimmer delivered a surprise, and believe it or not, but he went for a queen sacrifice. Look at this, guys. This time I even decided not to ask you to find the winning move, because I am sure that after seeing queen takes e5 you managed to see this epic queen sacrifice in a blink of a second. And actually I just can't understand how Wolfgang Ludwig overlooked this move. B takes c6 was played, and we have bishop takes c6 check. Actually after queen takes e5 already there is a checkmate in 10, and now let's see how will Emil Dimmer execute black king. King e8 was played. This time we have rook d5 discover check, king e7, bishop c5 check. Now can you understand the importance of rook d5 discover check in order to cover the fifth rank and allow the dark squared bishop to join the attack? Queen d6 is forced, black is forced to give away his queen, and we have rook takes d6. Right now the threat is to move back the rook and to checkmate black king. That's why black played f5, free to this f7 square for the king, but there is no way out. Here comes rook d7 check, king e8, rook takes a7 check, king d8. This time we have bishop b6 check, king c8, and finally white won the rook on a8 and we have a checkmate. Look at this epic checkmate, guys. What a combination. In the end, would like to ask you to solve a chess puzzle. Please pause the video and try to find the winning move for black. I will wait for your answer in the comment section. When it comes to our game, this was simply astounding, and I'm sure that you have enjoyed that queen takes c6 sacrifice followed by a mating attack greatly. Thanks for watching. For more games, consider subscribing to my channel. Also press the bell button to get notified about new uploads. I will see you in my next video. Take care. Hello chess lovers, Soren here, and in this video I would like to share with you a fantastic game played by 17-year-old Tigran Petrosyan. His opponent is K. Kalantar, and this game was played in 1946 in Yerevan. But before starting our video, as usual, would like to warm up your brain. Please take a look at this position and try to find the winning move for black. I will wait for your answer in the comment section. And now, without further ado, let's go for our main game and see what happened on the board. Kalantar opened up with d4 and Petrosyan responded with knight f6, c4, d6, knight c3, e5. Looks like that Petrosyan goes for old Indian defense, where black is usually developing his kingside bishop on e7 rather than on g7, but in our game we will see that after e4, e takes d4, queen takes d4, knight c6, queen d2, Petrosian went for g6 in order to bring his kingside bishop on the long diagonal. Also, if we have a look at the position, although this queen on d2 blocks the dark squared bishop's diagonal, but black has different ideas with his bishop and also is going to fianchetto it. g3 was played, bishop g7, bishop g2, black castled kingside, knight e2, knight e5, b3, and a beautiful move by Petrosian, bishop h3. He's using the vulnerability of king and queen. The bishop can't be captured because of this devastating fork. That's why after bishop h3, white castled kingside, and this time we have rook e8. Yes, still this bishop is untouchable because of this knight f3 check. That's why white played f3, and finally Petrosian captured on g2, got rid of white's fianchettoed bishop and managed to somewhat weaken white's kingside. Now comes knight d7, bishop a3, a5, rook d1, a4, and queen c1. Of course, capturing on a4 can be very dangerous because of this knight takes c4 move. If b takes c4, then rook takes a4, and then rook takes a2. Yes, black is managing to gain advantage. That's why white played queen c2, and we have a takes b3, a takes b3, queen c8, knight a4, and b6. This time Petrosian is going to bring his queen on the long diagonal. Yes, the Iron Tigran spotted that he can create problems for white from this diagonal, and now is going to bring his queen on the long diagonal. I would call this fianchettoing the queen. How do you like such an idea? Here comes knight b5, and this time we have f5. Yes, black is using the vulnerability of h1, a8 diagonal. It takes f5, after which white is facing serious problems. Instead of e takes f5, it was better to play knight c3. If f takes e4, then simply f takes e4. Although white is getting an isolated pawn on e4, but nothing wrong with white's position, white is holding. But in our game after f5, we have e takes f5, which steps into a beautiful tactical shot. You can pause the video and try to find Petrosian's next move. Ready? Here the Iron Tigran went for knight takes f3 sacrifice. Look at this. He's opening up the rook's path. Now if rook takes f3, then rook e2 check is coming. And if king g1, then simply queen takes f3, followed by a checkmate. And if king h3, then simply again queen takes f3. And again, white is in trouble. White won't manage to save this position. And then queen h3 is coming with very creepy mating ideas. And if g4, then queen h6, checkmate. That's why after knight takes f3, white blocked the queen's diagonal, but this time Petrosian simply moved back his knight on e5, and the threat is knight f6. King h3, white unpinned the rook, but now white king is in danger, and let's see how is Petrosian going to use that fact. Knight f6 was played, white moved back his rook, and this time we have knight g4. There are already some very nasty threats. White played knight d4, but even if rook e1, then in this case bishop h6 can be very unpleasant. If rook takes e8, then rook takes e8, and then knight e3. Yes, white's position is collapsing. In our game after knight g4, we have knight d4, and Petrosian simply forked the rooks. Rook f3 and knight g4. Petrosian is not even paying attention to this poor rook on d1. Here white played rook d3, after which Petrosian made a move and Kalantar resigned. Can you find his next move? Ready? This time he went for a queen sacrifice, guys. Yes, the Iron Tigran, the player with the most solid defense, is simply sacrificing his pieces one after another. And this time we have a queen sacrifice, after which white resigned. If knight takes f3, then knight f2 check is coming. And then bishop f6 check. Now if knight g5, then black can either announce a checkmate from f5 or from g2. That's why after this devastating, where's that queen sacrifice? After this queen takes f3 move, we have a resignation. A very beautiful game by Tigran Petrosyan. I really liked that idea of bringing the queen on b7, and then this f5 came and white faced serious problems. Thanks for watching. If you liked this game, give the thumbs up. For more games, consider subscribing to my channel. Also, press the bell button to get notified about new uploads. I will see you in my next video. Hello chess lovers, Soren here, and in this video I want to share with you another hyper-aggressive attacking game played by Soviet chess player Rashid Nezmetdinov. Nezmetdinov is on the black side and his opponent is Serbian chess player Dragoljub Ciric. The game was played in 1961 at Chigorin Memorial. In that same year, in 1961, Ciric would gain the international master title, and only 4 years later, in 1965, he would become a grandmaster. And now, without further ado, let's get started with our game and see what happened on the board. Ciric opened up with e4 and Nezmetdinov responded with e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. We have the Ruy Lopez a6, Morphy defense, bishop a4, d6. Nezmetdinov is choosing the modern Stalinist defense, white castles kingside. In here, the most popular move according to modern theory is bishop d7, but in our game we have bishop g4, h3, bishop h5, though black can also keep the bishop on g4 and go for this gambiting move by playing h5. And if white accepts the sacrifice, then black can gain great attacking chances, but white is not forced to capture on g4, instead can play d4, and white has a decent game, no problem at all. But in our game after h3, we have bishop h5, c3, white is preparing to establish this classical pawn center, but after knight f6, Ciric played queen e2, this is a rare continuation. Going for d4 or rook e1 is a more common continuation, but in our game we have queen e2. And to white's offbeat move, Nezmetdinov responded with a hyper-aggressive g5 move. Look at this, guys. He wants to organize a quick attack on the king side, not allowing this black pawn to step on g4. White himself played g4, but this is creating some weaknesses in white's king side. Instead, it was better to play d4. Now if g4, then h takes g4, and after bishop takes g4, white can play d5. If b5, then bishop d1. The bishop will later allow white queen to move freely, and if knight e7, then c4. White is doing okay, no problem at all. But in our game we have g4. In return, Nezmetdinov counter-attacked white bishop, b5 is on the board, bishop b3, bishop g6, d4, and this time we have h5. Yes, black proceeds with his attack, and let's see what's going to happen next. Here white won the pawn on g5, h takes g4, knight h4, and bishop h5. Here comes bishop d5. White is emphasizing the vulnerability of black knights. And it was in here that Nezmetdinov made a reckless decision. And instead of thinking about defense, for example, according to the engine, the best move is king d7. He went for a queen sacrifice and captured on d5. Look at this, guys. This is a move which Dragoljub Ciric was definitely not expecting. All he could do was to accept the queen sacrifice, after which we have knight f4. Queen e3, this time we have knight takes h3 check, king g2, knight f4 check, and underestimating his chances, Dragoljub Ciric decided to give back his queen and proceed with the game with the pawn down. He captured on f4, but after this move white's position is lost. Instead it was better to play king g3. If rook takes d8, then rook h1, if bishop h6, then knight f5. And according to the engine, the position is equal, though the position remains highly complex. But in our game, after knight f4 check, we have queen takes f4. Here we have e takes f4, bishop g5. Well, capturing on c7 is not a good idea, because after king d7, the dark squared bishop is finding itself out of the game, and actually it's better, yes, to keep the bishop on the king side. But anyways, even in this case, black's attack is decisive. Black has an extra pawn and still nice attacking chances on the king side. Here we have bishop e7. Nezmetdinov is getting rid of white's dark squared bishop, knight d2, king d7. Now he's connecting his rooks, after which we have f6. This time he's freeing this f7 square for the light squared bishop, b3, bishop f7, d5, rook h6. Now he will double up his rooks on the h file, rook h8, rook h1, which steps into a beautiful tactical shot. You can pause the video and try to find Nejmetdinov's next move. Ready? In here, Super Nej played knight takes d5. This is a move with which he is exploiting the weakness of the long diagonal and the h file. He takes d5, bishop takes d5 check, f3, g3, and in here we have a resignation. If rook h3, then bishop e6. White is suffering heavy losses. That's why after g3 we have a resignation. In the end, as usual, let's solve a chess puzzle. Please take a look at this position and try to find the winning line for white. I will wait for your answer in the comment section. By the way, this position is also taken from a game played by Rashid Nejmetdinov. Thanks for watching. Here are more suggestions for you. Feel free to check them out as well. I will see you in my next video.